another edition of Life and Learner Success, brought to you by Top Virtual Staffing Solutions. Let's all grow, learn, and innovate together. Feel free to go ahead and reach out to us and our social media, and at the same time, feel free to go ahead and email us at Manuel@topvirtualstaffing.com. All right. For session 6, as always, we'll go ahead and do a review on the 5th session. And for today's session, we're going to discuss what our goals, and we're going to have an talk about inner conversation. And then, as always, we will highlight critical thinking, scientific thinking, growth mindset, and willpower. All right. So, any questions for today's session? Okay. So we understand we took a summer vacation. But as school is about to begin here, we're ready to get back to work. Right? Okay. So, implicit consent, this is something we've discussed from before, so we'll go ahead and skip through these. All right. So why we offer these free sessions? Because we want you guys to donate to worthwhile causes. And for today's edition, or for this specific session, we want you guys to learn more about Special Olympics and helping them out. All right. And then at the same time, if you want to support to all the nonprofit organizations that we work with equally, we have this GoFundMe page right here. And if you want us to go ahead and continue this initiative, we obviously would appreciate that. At the same time, we want to invite you to our virtual town hall sessions. And one of the sessions that we've had is with a medicist and a physical therapy. And we just want to share with you, we have moved to 2 different locations. So feel free to check out the website where we are here as a top-rated PT practice in Maryland. So any questions or anything that you want to be addressed, Miko?
No.
No? All right. Let's go move on. Review. We discussed the importance of success and how we work on that. And at the same time, in terms of reviewing exactly what our values are. And we talked about the wise choice process. Do you remember any of these from a month and a half ago?
I think I remember the not the wise choice process, the values.
Okay. What about it specifically?
That if you don't have a meaning to what you are doing, you don't have a value to what you are doing, it's kind of useless to do it.
To do it, yes. So ideally, in anything and everything that we are engaging ourselves in, that there's a purpose for it.
Yes.
All right, lovely, good. And as we go through some of these things, hopefully it will help you revisit what we have discussed. So apply the wise choice process. And if you would remember from the wise choice process of identifying the key, the most important word here is the choice. The choices that we make in our day-to-day lives, right? And it's what we do that we commit to will yield with whatever results that we're working on, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then remember the CAP, creative, analytical, practical?
Yes, that one I definitely remember.
Okay. So how can you be creative in using successful intelligence? So that's what we discussed last time in terms of working with success. And then how can you be creative in applying the wise choice process? Okay. And analytical, how can you be analytical in your using successful intelligence? And how do you analyze are you effective in your wise choice process? Then the practical side is how do you apply successful intelligence characteristics. And critical thinking, is there anything? And I know it's been a while, so I guess we'll skip this time, but next week we'll have to revisit them, right? Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anything right now that you can think of? Or we'll go ahead and proceed with today's session.
I can't think anything with this topic. No, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So, as discussed, this is what we have, short-term goals. It is time sensitive because, again, everything that we're doing, we have 24 hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
Would we be able to get that time back?
Unless we build time machines.
Sure.
Okay. Probably not this era.
We'll see. All right. So time in terms of short-term goals, what are we doing in the next 5 minutes, in the next 30 minutes, in the next day, and so on and so forth. So it's time-bound. The next one is content. What exactly are we going to do? What are we going to learn? What are we going to study? Whatever it is. What are we doing during that time frame? And then the process is, how are we going to do it? How are we going to proceed with it? And accountability, this is part of the wise choice process of, are you the one responsible for things or it's somebody else's?
It's me.
That
It's
we're
me.
accountable for it. Yes. Okay. And then, are we always successful all the time?
No.
Okay.
We're non-successful most of the time.
Yes. So we have to learn how to work with setbacks, whatever they are. Okay. And then obviously, whatever short-term goals that we have will yield to that long-term goal.
Yes.
So, for example, when we have all of these sessions, and the reason why we're recording these things, is that hopefully as you go through life, this is something that you can go ahead and revisit for yourself.
Actually,
yes.
Short-term goals, that reminds me of something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have a book. It's called Turn 100 into 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this, it's something called MDM, $1 Million Mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, it tells us that we have to work short-term goals to get to medium-term goals to long-term goals and possibly $1 million. So what they do is technically what you're explaining right now. We need the short-term goals enabled to go to the long-term goals.
All right. And I'm glad you're learning from these other sources. Maybe you should be the one facilitating this now.
No.
All right.
No.
Okay. Anything else that you want to share? Am I on target so far or am I mirroring or echoing some of the things that you have learned from that book?
Not really.
Okay. All right. But if you have anything else, okay, feel free to go ahead and add.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then the last thing is we need to continuously evaluate, because obviously when we work on short-term goals, then we can identify, are we meeting whatever target that we have set for ourselves?
Yeah, it's sort of like the instructions for the long-term goal.
They are, yes. And yeah, and then I'll use another analogy here as we go ahead and proceed. So any questions with the short-term goals?
No.
Okay. Let's move on, long-term goals. So this is the overall goal. This is the big goal that we have, all right? And ideally, whatever this huge goal that we're aiming for, they're in line with our own values.
Yeah.
Okay? So my analogy here is, for example, working on the puzzle. So working on the puzzle, we have time here, right? So we're not going to spend hours and hours, but sometimes that's what it is. It will end up yielding a lot of hours, especially if we're going to use a huge puzzle here, a lot of numbers, okay? And then the content is what's the picture? And then how are we going to go about it? When you're working on a puzzle, especially for a complicated one, what do we need to do first?
We need to, well, I would do, well, most people start with the edge first in a puzzle.
So when you say most people, do you include yourself there? What do you do?
I just find somewhere something that connects to another piece and then start building off that.
Well, don't you think it's easier than to work with the perimeter?
Yeah, but for me, it kind of just takes longer to find the pieces and all that stuff.
So if you have 1,000 pieces, you look for 2 puzzles that will connect together.
What do you mean 2 puzzles? Puzzle pieces?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, and then I just build off that. That's my strategy.
So
I'm
out
not
of
sure if it's a really good one.
So out of 1,000 pieces, you'll go ahead. It's easier for you to locate 2 pieces that will connect. That's way easier for you.
No. I mean, I don't know. I just don't like getting the perimeter first, but sometimes I do that.
Well, that's the thing. And here we are, we're evaluating it. Why don't you like working on the perimeter? What about the perimeter that you don't like, that is not yielding to the short-term goal?
I don't know. It's just how I do the puzzles.
And you can do the puzzles however you want to, because if you still yield the long-term goal, that's fine.
I guess I just like challenges.
Okay, you just want it to be more challenging.
Yeah.
So in short, it is indeed more challenging with your approach versus looking for the corners and the sides.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then is that related to your work ethic that you want to be, and then values that you want to be challenged?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So if we carry that in our day-to-day lives, so hopefully you're always welcoming challenges then. That's who you are.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. And that's great, because that's what it is. We will be facing setbacks left and right, and okay, and it's challenging us, and we go ahead and learn how to work with it, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next is inner conversation. It's A plus B equals C. So A is activating event. You add B, which are beliefs, and then what are the results? So we have 3 individuals here, but they experience exactly the same thing. That they failed in something, whatever that something is. Failed in a project, failed in school, failed in whatever. Okay? The first person experienced that failure, whatever that failure is. And their thinking is that I am not good at this.
Browse the internet.
And then all they did was browse the internet endlessly, aimlessly, or social media. That has nothing to do with the activity. So that's a consequence there. Person 2, experiencing the same failure, and they go ahead and say, I blame whoever. And the consequences is they get angry at that person, and that's it. The third person, it's exactly the same situation. Their beliefs are, okay, that didn't go well. How can I get better results then? And the consequences there, they study and prepare on how to approach the next situation, how they can improve. So They experience the same thing, but they have different belief systems. And they have, because of their belief systems, it yielded different consequences. So among the three, who do you think will be relatively successful?
Person 3.
Person 3. I mean, sure, from time to time, we just need to get our mind off of that failed activity.
Yeah, person 1, yeah.
That's fine.
I
But
barely do person 2.
Huh?
I'm not a person 2.
You're not a person 2?
I don't remember blaming someone or something about something that I failed at.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Unless it was a joke, but
Okay.
it's not a very good one.
Which one are you here for the most part?
Person 3.
Person 3. Good. And that's what it is. You are, because of the beliefs that you have, all right, what can I do to go ahead and get better here? And that's the key. Right? Okay. Lovely. All right. It's a short session today. Review in terms of goals.
Oh.
You have these short-term goals and long-term goals. And you continuously evaluate and go and focus. And whatever it is that you tell yourself, you go ahead and pay attention to that. And we'll talk more about that as we move on through lifelong learning here. So, can you go ahead and, okay, I'll provide my own thing here first. And then next week, you will provide your own examples, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
Actually, I think I already have a short term now.
Okay. You can make a note of it, or yeah, we can discuss.
I'll just save it for
next week. No,
yeah,
I mean,
next week.
We can discuss it now. That's fine. And then, but hopefully you get to discuss it again next week or a different goal. Be fine with that?
Feel like just discussing it next week.
Next week,
talking about it.
So my short-term goals here is that to go ahead and continue to build on this library. That at the end of the day, for personal reasons, are for you. And hopefully this will help you in the long run when you go through life. And the long-term goal here is we finish and complete this session. The short-term goal for Top Virtual Staffing Solutions is that we are trying to go ahead and provide something positive and constructive to the community, to everybody else in the world. And the long-term goal is that they'll go ahead and identify, okay, we do all these good things, and hopefully we can go ahead and work together, whether you need virtual staffers or tutors or virtual companions. Now, how do I talk to myself? At times I do, especially when I have setbacks, that I have these self-defeating statements or negative thoughts. So it's just a matter of getting out of it and just focusing on what I can do to go ahead and get better. So that's lifelong learning. Let's move on to the creative side. How would you be able to modify your goals? And how would you modify unhelpful statements? So how are you going to be creative to modify goals? So for example, if you don't meet it right away, what can you go ahead and do next? So for example, for me, sure, we continuously try to find ways on how we can share all of these results. So with the goals that we have set for our practice or our business is that we just continue to communicate with others out there that we are doing these things. And hopefully that will continue to go ahead and grow, whatever we're building here. And then how do you modify unhelpful statements? It's to go ahead and just challenge it. Is this statement really 100% accurate? Or is it really meaningful for me to go ahead and think this way? Or is it really helpful for me to think this way with whatever failed activity that is? So I just go ahead and challenge what my thought processes are, or go ahead and identify how can I get better here.
Actually, I'm relating that, what do you call it? Unhelpful statement. Saying question. Statement.
You're related.
I'm going to relate that to Scrabble.
Okay.
You can just challenge a word. You challenge yourself about that unhelpful statement, and sort of like challenging your opponent in Scrabble if it's a word or not.
So if they moved a word that you're not sure if it's a word or not,
Yes.
and it.
Yes.
So what statement that is not helpful for you?
No, I'm just saying that it could probably relate.
Oh, you're just talking about challenges per se.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what it is. If it's not helpful, you challenge it. Just like when playing Scrabble and you have that challenge option. And if you don't, it's a word, then you challenge it.
But that's not in void.
Yes, or yeah, whatever the setting is.
Single, double.
Yes. All right, cool. Thank you. And then the analytical side is how are your short-term goals aligned to your long-term goals? And why is it unhealthy to have negative statements? Obviously, I missed the why here on unhealthy. So you go ahead and assess, okay, how are these helping you in the long run? So for example, for us, okay, on summer break, let's go ahead and take a break a little bit here. And then let's go back and commit to this. And then see how we can continue to have this library, again, personally for you. And then for any unhealthy statements that we have, why is it not good anyway, if we're thinking about all of these negative thoughts? And that's where the challenges will go ahead and come in. Why do I have these thoughts? Is it helpful? Is it beneficial? And then the practical side is how do you carry out your short-term goals? So here we are, we're doing this. We're recording it, we're committing to this on Fridays this time around. And then what do we do about it? And then do you remember the thing that we discussed in that session 6? Watch what you think, because that's what you say.
Yeah. Think is what you say, is what you do, is what your habit will become, which is you.
Which is who you are. Exactly. So from a practical point of view, if you go ahead and have all of these negative statements all the time, then that becomes who you are. Why do we want to go ahead and be extremely negative all the time? So we need to go ahead and find ways and how we can paraphrase that to go ahead and yield the results that we're looking for. Okay? All right. So again, we invite you guys on Fridays, 5 p.m. for Strength Through Stress and Life and Learner Success, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then our workout buddy sessions have moved now on Thursdays at 10 a.m. All right, any questions?
No.
We're good?
Yes.
So you'll be sharing more thoughts next week, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so
This session really was short.
Speaking of short-term goals. So yeah. These are your references, and we'll see you next week then. All right, take care.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informational and educational. Please share our videos and subscribe to our channel. If not, my dad will not give me dessert.